Hey, yo, welcome to the last one. It is, in fact, the last one in the set of 8. When you're done with this, go ahead, go through the PowerPoint at the bottom of the comparative religion folder. Make sure that cheat sheet, which is obviously open right now, is all the way filled out, that you have all the major faiths that we talked about listed, basic facts, and your notes all set in there, all ready to go. Whenever you're done with this and you've got your notes all together, go ahead and take the test, man. Ace it. Do the thing. All right, so now to get you guys that very last few pieces. So last up, lecture 8 is about small faiths, right? So over here, what we have is a chart of the religious adherents, right? Adherents, people who stick to a religion, adhere. Yeah, according to the Pew Research Center in 2014. This chart lumps all the different kinds of Christian together. So that's Catholics, Protestants, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, everybody. Which in the United States is about 70%. That number's actually gone down a bit over the last couple of years. Not too much though. The next largest group in the United States are the unaffiliated at 22.8. Third down, Jewish, 1.9, Muslim, just under 1%, Buddhist, just under 1%, Hindu, just under 1%, other non-Christian faiths, and gosh, there are a lot of them, you'll learn about even more today, just under 2%, and don't know, refuse to answer, 0.6. All right, so let's look at some more charts, shall we? All right, here we've got religion in the United States, like I just showed you, but way off to the right there, that is the updated numbers from 2016. The charts aren't directly one-to-one, so let's talk through it a little bit. In the 2016 numbers from Gallup, which is a research group as good as Pew, easily, those are pretty much peak for statistical data and surveys, by the way. And you'll see that Protestantism is just under 49%, Roman Catholics 23%, Mormons 1.8%. Let's see, drop all of those together. God, I'm going to round these off because reasons. 50, about 73 is where it comes out to. Cool. Mormons clocking in at 1.8 there. No religion at 18.2. Judaism 2.1. Islam just under 1% again. Other non-Christian religion 2.5. And last up, no response given or unknown. You'll notice the no response given unknown has actually popped up. My guess is that that's either statistical fluff. There's a margin of error, about 1 to 2% depending on the survey. It's partly that, and then partly, well, I feel like political events in 2016 might make a lot of people a little hesitant to just give out their religion to some random stranger on the phone. All right, so I know what you're thinking. That's the US. But here in Seattle, the numbers seem a little different. And you know what? You'd be right, kiddo. Yeah, let's check that out, shall we? Boop. I'm just going to move me again. All right, so in the Seattle metro area. Now keep in mind, this is not just the city of Seattle, but also the metro area. So that's basically all around the Puget Sound. The Seattle metro area extends as far north as Everett and as far south as what's one further south than Tacoma? Is that Puyallup, Olympia? Basically there. Cool. And so you'll see that in Seattle, Christians of all types, is about 48%. Nothing in particular. That's atheists, agnostics, no religion, spiritual but not religious, all that. Yeah, that all falls into none. Next down the list, Hindus at just about 3%, Buddhists at 2%, Jewish at 1%, Muslim at 1%, other or don't know, about 2%. In Seattle proper, actually, the number of religiously unaffiliated, so the nuns, not that kind, not the habit Catholic-y kind, but the nothing kind, actually is even higher than 43%. Some estimates actually put it at 60, which is wild. So yeah, good old notoriously unchurched, underchurched Seattle. All right, so Let's talk about those small faiths for a little bit. What kind of goes into them? So the first type of small faith is an ethnic religion. An ethnic religion is a religion that's really defined by ethnicity or region, right? These religions don't proselytize. In order to be in them, pretty much you have to be born into them, right? Historically, ethnicities would have their own beliefs or religion. Like, it's as much a part of the culture as language or custom. So, proselytizing religions, though, proselytizing, that is a vocabulary word that y'all definitely need. To proselytize, make sure you know that, it's on the test, is to go and try to convert other people to your religion. There are a lot of religions that do this. In fact, the big ones do. That's kind of how you get to be a big religion, is convincing people to join your religion. All right, so the big ones, in particular Christianity and Islam, right, crossed ethnic boundaries, and national religions, which were usually described as pagan, which translates to rustic, heathen, uncivilized, shirk, idolatrous, or polytheistic, kafirun, unbelieving, and converted those people. The ethnic religions, in fact, most of the ethnic religions that existed in 30 CE, which, if you remember, is when Christianity was founded, are now extinct. Oh, over here are some examples of ethnic religion. At the top, we have Zoroastrians, like celebrating a festival, and then we have some Slavic girls leaping the fire on midsummer. Cool. So, ethnic religions were mostly replaced by universal faiths. A universal faith means anyone can join it. Almost always these are monotheisms because it's a logical idea. Like, if there's only one God, they're the God of everyone, you should tell those people about it, right? Polytheistic religions are less likely to proselytize because if there are a bunch of gods and I have some, you'll have some, and they're all equally valid, right? Right. So in Europe, Christianity replaced the Germanic faiths, the Celtic, the Norse, the Greek, Roman ethnic religions. Later, Christianity would replace indigenous religions in the Americas and Africa. Islam replaced traditional religions in the Middle East and in Northeast Africa, and in specific, Zoroastrianism in Iran, which, if you remember from last lecture, or lecture before last, had been the dominant world religion before Christianity. Less forcefully, Buddhism has also done this. But Buddhism kind of mixed with ethnic religions in East Asia, and now they're really more like varieties of Buddhism. But some of the ethnic religions remain very strong and quite large. I mean, the third most populous religion is Hinduism. That's an ethnic faith. Next up, Judaism, Shaivism, Shinto. Yeah, they all still have like millions of followers. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about revival religions. So on our big chart, you might have noticed that there's kind of an abnormality. Most of the lines on it were, strong, and they feed up like into each other, but then some of them have these like very skinny little arrows, right? Well, that's because those religions have been revived into newer faiths, mostly founded in the 1700s or the 1800s. A revival religion is when the pieces of an older religion are too scattered to resurrect whole. And so people will take the pieces and mosaic together a whole new faith that's deeply influenced by the old. Great examples of this are like Asatru, which is the revived Norse religion, Wicca, which has Celtic and Hermetic elements, along with a bit of the Hellenistic, moved through it. Neo-Druidism, which fascinatingly actually predates the United States, is revived fully from that Celtic tradition. All right. So in your folder, there are a couple of videos, and there's a reading on neo-paganism. Keep in mind, you only need to do the reading. There's a video, but that's quite optional. It follows around some neo-pagans and just kind of shows you their lives. Fascinating. Anyway, so neo-paganism is on the rise, in particular in the United States. In 2014, the Pew Research Center said there were about 1 to 1.5 million people who identify as pagan in the United States. That number is projected, though, to triple by 2050 to 6.6 million people, or 1.5% of the population. And if you're thinking 1.5% isn't that many, I'm going to remind you of those earlier numbers of some very vital and out there faiths, out loud faiths that are about 1% of the population. So, the thing about neo-paganism is that because it's a religion of clergy, no two pagans seem to agree on the same definition of exactly what it is. It's also an umbrella term, coming from the Latin word for rustic. Things that are common to all of the branches, though, they're polytheistic, many gods, remember, monotheism, one god. Polytheism, many gods. Atheism, no gods. Got it? Got it. Good. Write it down. It's on the test. It's totally on the test. All right. So they're polytheistic or pantheistic. All right. Pan is your big vocabulary word. Pan means all. Theos, right? So kind of everything is divine. All of nature is divine. There you are. So yeah, it's a polytheistic, pantheistic, nature-worshipping religion. Oh, fantastic. So these slides are still in here. In normal years, I would put up a suggestion box midway through the week and just be like, hey guys, what do you want to know about religion? And Rastafarianism always made the cut. So hey, let's roll down real fast. So the Rastafarians. Rastafarianism is an Abrahamic religion that began in the 1930s in Jamaica. It was a direct response to colonialism. It was influenced by Ethiopianism and the Back to Africa movement. It was developed after Christian clergymen said that the crowning of Haile Selassie, oh man, my pronunciation is wrong on that, as Emperor of Ethiopia fulfilled a biblical prophecy. Now, in the 1950s, this became this huge countercultural stance, right? It conflicted with Jamaican society, and it ended with this violent conflict with police. In the 60s and 70s, this faith gained a lot of respect in Jamaica and abroad via reggae music. Rastafarianism, though, did begin to decline in the 1980s after both Bob Marley and the Emperor died. All right, so some quick tenets. Oh, it's trying to move me off the words. All right, cool. So, belief and practice. 1, there's no central authority, right? Or differences amongst practitioners. They're all Rastafari. It's a religion of clergy, right? Cool. The specific interpretation of the Bible, or Rastology, is, again, depending on who's talking. Jah, though, which is a word for God, lives in each Rasta. So the emperor, according to the theology, was the second coming of Christ, or a human prophet who fully saw the divinity in each person. Again, depends on which Rasta you talk to. Cool. 4th, the religion is deeply Afrocentric. It focuses on the diaspora and oppression of Black people in the West referred to in the faith as Babylon. So, some Rastafari want resettlement of Black people in Ethiopia or Africa, which they refer to as the Promised Land or Zion. The practices of Rastafarians are pretty straightforward. Music, chanting, discussions, smoking cannabis, a strict ITAL diet. Oh, ITAL, that's the thing above me. Yeah, is a vegan vegetarian cuisine. All right, growing dreadlocks, and extremely patriarchal gender roles. Rastafarians next, right? Okay, cool. So let's talk about the irreligious, right? It's the most populous religion in Seattle. It's about 22% of Americans. I put it in small faiths because honestly, there's not much to talk about. So cool beans. So the irreligious, atheist. Let's get some vocabulary, right? Atheists. These people are sure that there isn't a God. They know. They're like, there's no way. Cool. 2, agnostic. They don't know if there's a God, and they don't think there's a way to know one way or the other. 3rd up is just none. They don't know, they don't care. Cool. 4, SBNR. You'll actually see this abbreviation kind of a lot as you study religion. It just means spiritual but not religious. right now, usually 14-year-olds in my class would be like, wait, I totally have an uncle like that. And the answer is you probably do, man. You're in Seattle. Cool beans. The last kind of irreligious is culturally X. And that can be people who are culturally Christian, culturally Jewish, etc., etc. Usually, these people don't really believe in the religion anymore, but it's like their parents' religion, so they like go with the cultural practice. They might even like they celebrate the holidays. They do the religious things, but they don't really believe in the religion. Cool. Last up are our parody religions, some of which featured here. We have the invisible pink unicorn. The miracle, of course, being that a unicorn is both invisible and pink. How? I guess technically that would make it a mystery cult. Fun. Anyway, to the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which started as a open letter about the teaching of evolution in Kansas public schools in like 2005. And then last up, some sects of the Church of Satan. Now then, there are many different forms of Satanism, so many, in fact. It turns out that Satanists, being very individualistic, real good at just splitting up and going their separate ways. Cool. Church of Satan, Temple of Satan. Oh, fuck. First Church of Satan. These are all three of these are different things. Yeah, it's a lot. So if you decide to know more, it's in the big religion chart. Cool. This video has a link. The irreligious video is up in the folder. Go ahead and watch it after this one. Okay. You also have a video on Sikhism. So, fantastic. Yeah. So, Sikhism. Sikhism is a progressive religion founded over 500 years ago. The religion today has a following of over 20 million people worldwide and is ranked as the 5th largest world religion, depending on who's counting. Right? Or, well, I guess more how they're counting. No worries, though. So, Sikhism preaches a message of devotion and remembrance of God at all times, truthful living, and equality of mankind, and denounces superstition and blind ritual. Sikhism is actually an open faith. It's not an ethnic faith. Like, you could convert if you wanted. Right. Is open to all through the teachings of its 10 gurus enshrined in the Sikh holy book and the living guru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib. Oh, maybe this will be the last word I get to mispronounce this school year. Nah, there's probably more. Okay. Cool. Oh, here, let me move my face off the temple so you guys can see it because it's pretty sweet. Look at that temple. All right. So a Sikh translates to a strong and able disciple, 5th largest religion, 23 million people worldwide, etc. It is the youngest of the Eastern like world religions. And it emerged in the 1500s in India. The founder is Guru Nanak Dev, who was born Hindu in 1469. The religion developed as an alternative third path. The area that it was born in was very conflicted. A lot of people were Hindu, a lot of people were Muslim, and Sikhism is a middle alternative path. Yay. So, these two religions were in conflict. Sikhism was born. The most famous teaching of the faith is probably that there is no Hindu, there is no Muslim. Whose path shall I follow? I shall follow the path of God. It's a quote from the founder. He's pretty cool. All right, that, cream puffs, is the end. So here's what you're going to do. First, go look through your cheat sheet. Double check that list of world religions. Do you have them all? In the study guide, do you think you could answer all those questions? Because if you can, well, hell, time to go take the test. Yeah, dude. After that, I highly recommend looking through all the Schoology lists. Just double check. Did you actually finish everything? If it has a score, it's probably complete. And if it doesn't, click on it. Is it actually submitted? I can only grade things I have. Well, anyway, good luck, and I'll see you around.